I've been so scared of like ruining it further, trying to make it better, that I just haven't done anything with it.
That's the motorcycle.
That's the motorcycle.
Yeah, epoxy's tricky. I'm glad I took what's her name's epoxy class at Workbench Con, and then Total Boat sent me a kit, and within that kit they had the like tabletop instructions. And so based on like what she said and those step-by-step instructions, it worked. Man, I haven't been down here in the office this whole week. This is crazy.
Josh, are you releasing a video this week?
Yeah, we put one out today.
Today, right? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it. It didn't show up in my feed. I'll have to look for it.
Yeah.
The coffee stamper?
Yeah, coffee tamper.
Tamper. That's what it's called. Tamper.
Yeah, we're still right now in the videos that Bob has put out while he was by himself. I don't remember how many more. I think there might be one or two more. R2 Part 4 is coming out.
Speaking of series.
Yeah. Every video people ask, like, when's R2? Where's R2? Why aren't you doing R2? And they do okay. But if you look at all of them back to back, every series video that we've ever done is as relevant as every individual piece you would think would be. The viewership goes down the longer a series goes.
All right.
Once R2 is done, are you guys gonna do kind of like a one video overview of the process?
I don't know what he has in mind. We've been cutting out pieces for the feet, trying to get chains for the drive motors for the feet. We were playing with it yesterday. So his head turns, he makes all the sounds. There's a board I think he either has or has to get to connect the lights and sounds and the servos and everything all together. And then it's just making the feet. We had to. There's a template somebody gave him, like a bunch of DXF files of the feet components, but they have like really small little cuts. Like it should be lasered, and there are like metal cutting lasers. I think there's one that I know of. I'm not sure if those guys are open or not. But the metal place that we go to, they have a plasma cutter, and I'm like, I don't want to put aluminum in a plasma cutter, and it's gonna be all like scrambled eggs on the edge. It's not gonna be nice and clean. So we talked about putting it on the CNC, and then Bob has the Wazer. So I called up our metal place today, and we were trying to find like 1/8-inch thick aluminum sheets, and looking on McMaster-Carr, and I'm like, oh, let me call the guys at the metal place. Like, they're super helpful. And they had a 4-foot by 10-foot sheet that they sold us for what we could get, like a 20-something by 30-something sheet on McMaster-Carr. So we got like 10 feet's worth, and they cut it, and then we're like, well, we need just like Wazer blanks. So they cut us a whole bunch of Wazer blanks out of that thing, and then another chunk that we could load on the CNC by itself if we wanted to, all for pretty cheap. Anyway, I was telling him the business name, and I was calling this guy back and forth a bunch of stuff, and then he finally called me back and let me know they're ready. He was like, you guys have a YouTube channel, right? I'm like, yeah. And I was kind of telling him what it was for. He's like, is this for R2-D2? I'm like, oh yeah, these are for R2's feet. He's like, dude, that's awesome. Like, it was really funny. Like, it was intimidating for us early on, like when I got here trying to find a metal supplier, because we're not metal workers. I don't know how to speak the language, and those guys are nothing but helpful and kind. And now, like, I was like, yeah, I don't know what any of that crap means. I was like, you guys have aluminum? He's like, you want 3130 or you want that? I'm like, dude, I don't know. It's for R2-D2's feet. And then he called back. I'm like, there's a bunch of nerds in the basement making stuff. I don't know any of the words, but they're super cool. So don't be intimidated by going to a lumber yard or a metal yard and just feigning stupidity, and people are really helpful.
Nice.
Happy birthday, Wes.
Thank you.
Yeah, buddy.
Thanks.
How old are you now?
That's rude, isn't it?
You're muted. You did it on purpose, didn't you?
I'm not muted.
Yeah, he's muted again. He says, I'm 33.
41.
Can't hear you.
Really?
Nope.
Hi, welcome to the Making Geeks podcast, where microphone troubles are being
Are random.
are random.
And never end.
It's surprising that it's not me this time.
It was initially.
Because, yeah, let's face it, every week, something always goes wrong.
How's this?
Oh,
There
much
he
fun.
is.
Hey, how's it going?
Somber tones of Wes finally coming through.
How's it going? Now that I'm here?
Good. How old are you?
I am 41.
Well, you don't look an age over 41.
Thanks.
An age over. I love it.
What'd you do for your birthday?
We stayed at home. I played Minecraft a lot today, which doesn't sound that atypical for me, which I guess in the current situation it's not, but I played it without being heckled for the most part, or bothered, or I didn't really like. I need to finish the Minecraft sign video, but I was like, I'm just gonna take today off. I'm not gonna even edit anything for that because I'm actually pretty close now.
You weren't heckled or bothered by people in Minecraft or family?
Online people, I don't know. By other forces, either internal of me or external of me, that usually tell me to do other things.
There you
That
go.
makes
This is a day of solace.
Yes.
Nice.
So
I think at a certain age, that's all I really can hope for.
yeah.
Like a Lego set or something fun. Like, that's
Right.
cool. I just don't want people to freak out. I want everybody to be all right.
Yep.
Hmm.
So let's see. I got a production animation cell in the mail that I ended up ordering before I knew it was going to be for my birthday, because Catherine commandeered it because she didn't have another gift, I guess, in mind. So I couldn't open it or look at it when it finally arrived. And it's a animation cell of a character from Tiny Toon Adventures dressed up as Batman. So one of the characters was Plucky Duck. He's sort of like a Daffy Duck analog, and they had episodes where they pretended they were in the Justice League, and he was the Batman character. So there's a picture of him heroically posing on the edge of a building at night. It's pretty Batman-esque. It's pretty nice. It's all framed and everything. It's in really good condition. Certificate of authenticity, all the bells and whistles that would go along with it, and it looks really great. So I've got a Batman cell from the animated series that's looking to the right, and he's posing where he's looking to the left. So I'm gonna put them on the wall facing each other, and then have Darkwing Duck above it because he's sort of like a parody of Batman too. That was like the cool thing, and got a couple other odds and ends. We got an accessory for the stand mixer. The kids did a scavenger hunt, treasure map kind of thing for me. They set up. They've been doing maps at school and legends and directional words and everything. So I had to find some presents and notes and stuff taped under desks and other random places in the house. That was kind of fun. And let's see. One of my old Navy buddies, I recently convinced him to jump on Minecraft, and we used to play games together all the time. We were roommates in the Navy for a long time, and we've been friends since then. And he kind of got out of gaming for a while, but he's since kind of jumped back in, and I've been hanging out with him virtually the most we've hung out in years. It's the kind of friend that, you can not talk to him after a couple weeks, a year or something, and then get back together, and it's like you never separated kind of deal. So it's always fun. And let's see what else. Catherine made pineapple upside down cake, which is my cake of choice for my birthday, because you can't really get that many places. It's sort of like an oddball cake
So
in a
good.
way. It is so good. and she's modified the recipe somewhat from the traditional, because typically you have the rings with the cherries in the middle. I don't really care for cherries, so that we nixed those like over a decade ago.
Yeah.
And instead of the rings, she does crushed pineapple, so it distributes the pineapple-ness across the top evenly instead of rings, which is pretty good. I like it. And I had a podcast, and I'm currently talking on it. And yeah, pretty much fast forward. We had dinner. Some local friends came over as a surprise. They're the only people that we've like broken quarantine with, because we've like before all this happened, we would hang out with them like at least once or twice a weekend. And it took us a while before we actually agreed to hang out, because it was like just so long. And they live like 5 minutes from our house, kind of thing. And Samantha always spends the night over at their house, and their daughter spends the night over here. And we're like, all right, well, they're in the acceptable, we're basically family. So we're just like, all right, we'll add these 3 people to the circle of exposure. Like a couple weeks ago, I think we did it. So yeah, they came over and had dinner, and we had Chinese food, and that pretty much rounds it up.
So this is hilarious.
Yeah.
This is why I love Wes Wayne so much. So my birthday's coming up next month, and Tiff was asking me what I want to do for my birthday, because we have a trip planned. And she was like, well, what do you want to do for your birthday? I'm like, some Chinese food from this place in Louisville sounds really good. And the other day, I was grilling out, and I grilled some pineapple, and so it got all caramelized. I'm like, this would be mega delicious in a pineapple upside down cake. I want that.
Boom.
That's funny.
Yep. Drawing parallels.
Mm-hmm.
What have you guys been up to today, of all days? What have you done for my birthday? On my birthday?
Well, we all gathered around the Wes effigy that we all were required to make.
All right. Well done.
Danced around it 3 times, 1 extra. Oh no, we put out a video today. I'm actually back at work now. So Bob and Anthony and I are back working together. I don't know about I sanitize myself in and out of the room every time I go in there. Which, if there's ever like the new normal kind of thing, like,
yeah,
I have a lot more hand sanitizer around me, and I know which one I like because it doesn't dry my hands out. And so I'm way more like, I normally wash my hands a lot, but I do it a lot more now. But yeah, we're back to work, and it's been really fun because I missed my work friends, my regular friends, and the silly, stupid conversations we don't get to have, and feeling a little bit more productive in ways has been a lot more beneficial than I thought.
Now that it's not just you sitting in your office by yourself editing videos.
Yeah, I found that I don't really like editing. I mean, I do it, and I know it needs to get done, so I'll do it. But that's not the stuff that brings me joy about making things. And I like the problem solving, the figuring it out, the designing, the building, the watching somebody else over and over again build something on a screen. That doesn't bring me that same level of joy. So me being here in the office the entire quarantine, just editing video over and over, and doing research for video over and over, it was all for a reason, and I'm proud of that reason. But man, I don't want to do that. Continually. That's why I stopped making my own YouTube videos, is I could care less about video editing. But we finally finished our Fusion 360 for Makers course. It's out to a certain group of beta testers right now. It is out to our patrons and our Maker Alliance, our little group. So hopefully later this month, we're going to be launching that on a full release. It is how many chapters? 13 chapters? It's a lot. It's a deep dive into Fusion 360. And it's all stuff that I learned. I learned from Autodesk. I learned on my own stuff that Bob has learned. It's pretty good. It's what we've worked on pretty much the entire quarantine break, and it's very well put together. So hopefully we'll be able to share it with everybody pretty soon. So if you out there in the world, if you've ever thought about learning Fusion, give it a go, because it's really good.
I think that course might finally get me into start using Fusion. Not muted. You guys
No,
hear me?
you really low.
Oh, that was weird. Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
That course is probably what's going to finally get me in to start using Fusion. I think I've been kind of waiting for something like that, and look forward to that.
Yeah, I've been using it the last couple days, and I mean, I've been purposely using Fusion to model a thing, and there's stuff that I knew that I didn't really implement, and then when I had to come up with a lesson plan and actually help record the whole thing, I'm like, oh yeah, this is why that is a good idea. Like, I had to convince myself so that I could convince others. And now, like, I made a queen size bed, and with a keystroke, I can make it a twin size bed. I can make it a king. I can make it a California king. I can make it generate, procedurally generate slats in the bed, so I don't have to do it myself. We're talking about making a bridge. We're like, well, how many, I don't know, piers, planks, or whatever need to be on the bridge? And I can write up a formula, and the whole thing will just create it for me. I don't have to do it. I don't have to make all those. I can make a single one and make the robots do it. I love that. And it makes me happy watching the program just do it. It's cool.
Speaking of lesson plans, I'm back to school in a sense. I'm taking a class right now, and it's not fun. I hate it. Not too long ago, I was thinking about, let me go back and get my doctorate. No, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to sit through courses and do that anymore. I'm doing this last class because I have to clear my credential for what I'm teaching with computer science and animation, but I'm done after this. And it's expensive too. So boo on having to take another class, but on a more positive note, the jury duty that I was supposed to do I got out of that, so I don't have to do that. So between the class I'm working on and not having to worry about anything else now, because I finished all of my my school year finished last week, I can possibly get back to making and doing all the stuff I've been looking forward to. And even worked on the pinball machine a little bit today. So
Nice.
That's what I've been up to. That and drive-through promotions for my kids and weird social distance birthday parties, and yeah. So weird eggshells to walk on sometimes. How you, Donovan?
Yep. This is the world now.
Right
I've
now.
been in pre-production for my next project, trying to figure out how to build a Playhouse. And talking about Fusion, it's terrible because I'm trying to learn Fusion and SketchUp at the same time, and my brain does not like that.
Why?
Why would you do both?
Hold on. Other than the obvious that you're Donovan and you want to make things harder on yourself for some unknown reason.
There's practicality for it. Fusion because of Josh specifically, and doing the whole course thing and everything like that. But SketchUp because I am working with the SketchUp guys to write 2 projects. This Playhouse being one of them that's going to go up on the SketchUp site and have it be part of an ARG.
Mm.
So it's for a purpose.
An ARG, for those people who may not remember, stands for
Augmented reality game, like a treasure hunt that you can do online and in the real world, depending on how they put it together. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. So I'm taking on pre-production for that, which I realized that I really don't spend enough time designing stuff out before I make it. I just start doing it. I don't tend to plan stuff out more than just like a sketch on a piece of paper or an idea in my head before I'm like, all right, let's build this thing, even though I don't know dimensions or anything like that. And it's been kind of eye-opening for me to realize that I need to be much better at that, rather than guessing how much wood I need and making 4 trips to Lowe's. I can know exactly, hey, I need this many 2x3s, this many 2x4s, this much plywood, all that kind of stuff ahead of time. So I'd be set. And the plans are right there, and it'd be much faster than the try, cut, test, recut, retry, grab a new piece of wood, cut it again, screw up, go back to Lowe's, that I'm so accustomed to. So it's been quite eye-opening for me, realizing that I need to get a lot better at pre-production. We're not in film. I need to get a lot better at designing my projects out.
Well, you say you want to learn Fusion because of me, and my entire reasoning for doing any 3D modeling is so I can not waste that time and that money.
Yeah.
That's it. So if I can 3D model what I need to do first so I can see it, if SketchUp could do what Fusion would do, I would use SketchUp. Like, Fusion isn't paying us to do this course. The only reason that we chose Fusion is because we like it better. It has capabilities that SketchUp can do. That's it. And it has saved me. Again, I'm not a SketchUp or a Fusion fanboy. I am a 3D modeling and figuring out your errors before you begin fanboy. And it has saved so much time. This bed that we just designed, like, I have the render, the actual picture of it, what it will really look like in real space on my desktop, because I had to send that to Bob's wife today, and she approved the design based on that render. Because she is a very visual person. She needs to see what it's actually going to look like. And from that model, I could change the height, I could change the material thickness, I can change all that stuff with a keystroke well after the fact. So if I need to change my mind, if I go to Lowe's or if I go to Home Depot and they don't have what I need, I can update that model effortlessly, because I put in that little bit of work up front that saves me so much time and so much money on that backside. Oh, I hate having my time wasted. And I almost like completely quit making stuff altogether because I was so tired of having, like you're talking about, like go into something with like 3/4 of the knowledge I needed and then realizing I messed something up.
Mm-hmm.
Or I made a cut list and I didn't follow my cut list. So now I don't have enough material, because on this board I could get A and I could get probably R. And I go A. I'm like, dang it, I didn't follow the thing that I did. And I was so tired of screwing up and wasting my time. That, I mean, I can design this entire house in Fusion. So if I want to rip through a wall, I can open up that model and see exactly. I did that. I did the room that I'm currently sitting in exists because I 3D modeled it first. I went to the store one time. Got exactly what I needed because I knew exactly what I needed. And that's when I was like, there's not a single project I'm going to do. Because now I'm proficient enough in it that I can do a simple project simply in modeling just to make sure. And then I can go get stuff I need.
Yeah. Hence my whole comment about thinking I'm at a point where I need an editor, because it's like, if I'm spending way more time at the front end of projects, like, that either extends that time overall for my stuff that I'm trying to do, or it takes away from that time at the back end that, I would typically spend all my time, putting the video together and stuff like that. And it's hard taking on bigger projects. It's exciting, but dang, I've never been intimidated by projects up to this point. Like this moment right now, I'm just looking at my project load for the next 6 months, till the end of the year, and just being like, man, I'm in over my head.
Is part of that because you have other people involved too, for things that... Is that better again?
I think your microphone like auto balances itself to how loud you're talking. So the more you talk, the more we can hear you.
It shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't.
I think there's something going on with my mic. I either have to replace one of the cables or get a new mic.
See? Now you're perfect.
It ramps up as soon as you start talking. It ramps up to meet you.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed in the setup for any of the stuff that I'm doing, so.
Nah, I don't know. Who knows? Welcome to the Geeks podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Microphones do.
We've all had audio issues, so.
We actually collect all our words in a jar, and then we mail them to Sean.
That's right.
He shakes them all.
Then I open them and have to put them back together somehow.
Yes, open them at the exact same moment.
Yep. I don't remember what the hell I was saying.
You were asking a question.
Yeah.
Something about...
No, I was asking you if you feel it's different because you are doing videos for other people now. Like, having some sort of oversight or having to meet somebody else's expectation, is that changing it for you, as opposed to something small you're just making for yourself just to put content out?
No, it's more for my own expectation. I mean, we talked about this before, but Josh recommended those 2 books, the Story Brand and Primal Marketing, which I read.
Primal Branding. Yeah.
Primal Branding, not Primal Marketing. And I should not have read those books. They messed with my head so much, so badly, to such a degree that I psyched myself out of doing anything, which is why I haven't done anything in over a month. Just because of those stupid books. Oh, gosh. And I know it's because my brain is broken and different, and I think I'm just weird or something. I'm not as practical as Josh when it comes to just looking at things from a pragmatic standpoint and being like, oh, well, yeah, A, B, done. You're good. What are you worrying about? Where you've got me who has this A-B connection, but it goes through, every which way. I end up getting to B, but it is not I'm getting sidetracked in my own thought process of what I'm trying to say. But it's more my own expectation on my content rather than me working with other people, putting stuff together. It's actually been kind of fun working with other people because you realize like someone else can make up for the things that you're not good at. And I'm like, wow, you can do that thing? That is amazing. I can't do that thing yet. Maybe one day I will, but especially when it comes to, pre-production. What do you call it?
Yeah,
it's not pre-production.
Why isn't
that's
it?
what we call it at work.
Why isn't it? You're still making a
Yeah,
video.
it's pre-production. That's exactly what it is.
So yeah, I am not good at pre-production, and I've been working with somebody who's very good at pre-production, and it's just, yeah, it's enlightening. It's fantastic. I've learned so much in the last 3 days. But then I jump back into learning Fusion, and my brain's like, oh, it's like this is what it's like. I have an Xbox and I have a Nintendo Switch. On the Nintendo Switch, A is over here, B is down here, X is up here, and here's Y. And on the Xbox, all those are flipped. And so if I'm used to playing Breath of the Wild and I try and jump onto playing a game with one of my friends, my brain is like, wait, I should be jumping. Nope, I'm switching a weapon. Okay, nope, that's firing, because all the button placements are different. It's like that. If you're used to playing on the Switch, it's hard to jump over to Xbox and vice versa. It's learning SketchUp and then trying to learn Fusion at the same time. It's hard to switch my brain jumping back and forth between those two. If that makes sense.
I agree. That would be extremely difficult.
I would not like that.
Yeah.
Sam, I am.
Just throw Blender in there too.
Yeah, because I want to CNC some of the decorations that I'm putting in this Playhouse that I'm making. And so the CNC, all the stuff is in Fusion to get the model ready with the G code to go to the CNC machine. And the SketchUp is for all the framing and, the design work for the actual building itself. And so, yeah, jumping back and forth just hurts my brain.
Well, I know why. You explained why you were using both.
Yeah.
But just for people listening, Fusion can do all of that. There is a specific reason you are using SketchUp. And again, I'm not crapping on SketchUp, but you're not doing two because one is not capable of doing both. You're doing two for a very specific purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clear to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's so easy. I have my notebook. It's not here with me. That has my rough ideas. And I've always been jealous of people like Laura Kampf or there's somebody else that could have. Anyway, where she has her notebook and her notebooks are just beautiful drawings. She's just very skilled that way, where she can not only animate really well, but she has a technical prowess to make her drawing skills match her engineering mind. What I have in my head to what I put on paper makes sense only to me. It doesn't look good. It gets it in the most rough ways, but I can't take that and translate that to board feet or actual dimensions, or this joint needs to go to that joint. And so using a 3D modeling program allows that to be a lot more clear. I can make it look pretty, and then I can super scrutinize, like, how is this joint going to go together? Should this piece be turned opposite? The way we were making this bed, we were making it in a very specific way, and I could look at all of the pieces and how they interacted, and I can change everything so that it would fit together in the easiest possible way. I can take my crazy drawing, throw it in there, and then whittle it down to the most efficient output. And I think that, to me, like, there's not a project I don't want that to happen with. So my my Fusion library, so many crazy things in it, and some of them are not even complete models. It's just that idea that I had. It's a component. It's a piece. It's a moving joint, just so I can see it move, and then be done with it. And then I can get it out of my head, and I can not dwell on it, and I can think about something else. And Fusion has a lot of capabilities, and so does SketchUp. And so I think it's really intimidating for someone to want to jump into something to break that gravitational pull toward pen and paper, like to make the leap into the next thing, like to go interstellar.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, that was constantly wasting time and constantly wasting money going back to the store. I'm like, this is freaking stupid. I'm so sick of making these mistakes on the fly and then having to correct them with the time that I don't have. I'm like, oh, I can sit down at my desk and spend an hour. Start a timer. I give myself an hour to make a thing. And if I'm not done, then I'll come back and maybe give it another hour. But that pre-production work, man, pre-production, just like on a movie set, just like anything that you do, that pre-production, that saves you so much time and effort in the long run. And I don't know, we're all Lego guys, right? So that pre-production work, and then I took it out to the shop, and I'm like, well, in my 3D modeling, my 2x4 was nice and perfect and straight, had beautiful 90-degree lines, because that's how geometry works on computers, and my boards were all wonky and stupid. And then I got really pissed because my model didn't match real life. And it wasn't because of the modeling, it was because my materials
inferior.
Yeah. And so when I got my joiner and my planer, I learned how to make the piece of wood I was working with actually fit together like my CAD Lego instructions. And so, like, when the modeling world and the real world were actually, my skills leveled up in both of those areas, then it just, every project I had, I'd model it really fast. I would mill up the lumber that I had to mill up. I knew that my Lego plans were together. They were smooth, and I was done. Like, it took so much of the guesswork. It was assembly. Me going out to the shop was not the work part. It was assembly at that stage. And it was so liberating. So I encourage anybody, if you're having trouble with the pen and paper in the store, just like you're talking about, man, give 3D modeling a shot.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
I really like you talking about how things make sense in your head, but there's a disconnect between, what's in your head and putting it on paper. I realized a lot of my traits in terms of like building things and taking on a project come from my dad, because my dad, everything makes sense in his head. And so when you're working with him, he knows what he wants and he knows what it's going to look like. And so his philosophy is that, nothing is square, so you adjust on the fly. And it's hard for him to translate what's in his head to words. So that if I'm trying to help him build something, that we can be on the same page and we're building something together. And so, I grew up in that space, not doing any of the pre-production because all of it was in my dad's head. And so learning how to just, adjust as you go, cut, recut, grab another board. I mean, to this day, he still calls me. Guess how many times I've been to Lowe's today? 7? Yeah.
Way more than you need to?
Yeah. And so, yeah.
Well, especially for you, the 3D modeling a thing, building it, and then having that 3D model that then you can break apart and turn into plans.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's
that
another big
production work. Like, it literally can pay off. Because that stuff you have in your head and you capture and you shoot in a video, that's the only place where that lives. Like, is someone looking at you building it? That's it. There's a disconnect between if I am interested in what you made and I want to have it myself, you're in that video or in that mindset, you're openly telling people no. Like, well, I have the 3D model. I did that already. The hard work is done. Then you can make it look a little prettier, add a cut list to it, put your logo on it, charge $5 for it, put it up on that's passive income.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's so many benefits, and especially like you're dealing with sponsors right now, like making that thing look pretty so you impress people. You impress people with like some computer keystrokes that you did. You haven't even made the thing yet, and people are already excited about it.
I'm excited about it. I haven't really told anybody about it aside from you guys and my wife. So all the excitement lives in me right now.
And now everybody else that listens, they're excited too.
And now the world knows. I'm making a Playhouse that's probably way too big.
You gonna charge your son rent?
I don't know. Man, I was like, dang, if I built this for me when I was a kid, which logistics of that would be weird. But like if I had this thing, I would want to live in that. Screw the house. I want to go live in the fort in the Playhouse. Cuz this thing it's modeled after Link's house in Breath of the Wild. And so it's 2 stories. It's got a landing inside of it, and I literally want to finish it and decorate it to make it look like Link's house in Breath of the Wild. And so my son has a couple Hyrule shields and Traveler shields and the Master Sword and whatnot that we've gotten over time, little foam ones and backpacks that I want to build frames just like in the game to where you can, frame out your weapons and hang them on the wall. I want to carve a Majora's Mask like you get in the game. And hang it on the wall and have these little things, have the little sign out front that in Hylian script says, Ethan's Playhouse, just so it's as real to its counterpart as I can make it, but kid-sized. I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to live in it. I would want to live in it. And I'm a full-grown adult. I wouldn't be able to stand up all the way in that thing. Of course, all of that is in my head right now. I haven't even built it. But...
Well, every Breath of the Wild fan's question, like, are you going to put the lean-to shed with the door that doesn't open?
I don't know. Well, because I was thinking of, like, how can I make some of this stuff practical, like the lean-to shed or the awning, and so I'm trying to find ways of making, like, places for storage if we want to store anything or whatnot. Yeah. So many ideas in my head right now. It's terrible.
How far in the modeling process have you gotten?
It's all been framed out. The 4 walls, the landing, and the floors. I think the roof is the only thing that hasn't been modeled out yet. So hopefully by tomorrow I'll have a supply list of everything that I need to get so I can go pick it up. So over this weekend I can start cutting and framing out stuff and ignoring the Star Wars desk that I really should be working on instead.
The last time I donated an Arduino, a battery pack, and LED strip to a project, it never got finished.
It's gonna get finished. I promise.
I'm just saying.
Don't
keep that tradition alive.
What was the other project?
It may or may not have been for Bobby Duke.
Oh, yeah.
Legendary sword.
Yes.
Yeah. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
He's back.
Could have fooled me.
He posted a video, and he's like posting on social media again. So
he's posted a couple. He hasn't been completely gone.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Now that we're 40 minutes into this.
All right, what are you guys geeking out about?
We're almost at that time.
Yep.
Hmm.
Do you guys watch Community, or have you watched Community?
Of course.
Not yet.
Okay. Have you finished Wes and Donovan? Have you finished?
I didn't finish the season that went when it went to a Yahoo streaming service or whatever.
Yeah,
I watched all the stuff.
that one
5?
either.
6.
Okay, because season 5 kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's not the greatest.
Like, I know the whole. I guess there's a bunch of drama behind Chevy Chase, and then Donald Glover left, and then the Russo brothers left to make all the Marvel movies, and it all went in the stinker, I think. And I really like that show, and it's like season 8, the second half of season 8 of The Office.
Yeah.
Like, this show is hitting the brakes pretty hard for me, and I don't want to watch it anymore. So
Are
I
you
guess
watching
I'm
it
asking,
right now?
like, yeah, like, does it get better? Should I push through this, or should I just let it go?
From what I've heard, season 6 is good.
Okay.
From what I've heard.
Yeah, the
I'm
Troy and
waiting on the
Abed
movie.
part. I love that so much that when that didn't exist anymore, it was just like, why am I watching this? Yeah.
They're trying to, like, find another pal for him on the
I know.
show.
Yeah.
And it's awkward, and it doesn't work. Okay. It's a good show.
It is.
But, like, when we got to season 5, I'm like, ugh,
Slog.
don't want to do this
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah.
Mm.
Although season 5 had Escape from the Manor, didn't it? Or was that season 4?
Escape from what?
Escape from Hawthorne Manor. Have you gotten to that episode yet?
Oh, yeah, the video game one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was great.
Okay.
That was
that season 5 or was that season 4?
I think that was season 4.
Oh, okay, never mind. Because Pierce was still around
Yeah.
during Escape from Hawthorne Manor.
I'm watching the one where they did the G.I. Joe episode. And, like, the premise is fun because they did one where everything was a video game. They did one where everything was claymation, and it was, like, part of the story.
Right.
Mhm.
But the one where they like recreated a G.I. Joe episode with all the characters of the show, it still had, like, the cartoon or the
Yeah.
toy commercials that I thought was cool. But, like, the story was really dumb. And I kept coming back to, like, well, you could make a show, but, like, should you have done that in the first? It seems like a wasted opportunity. And so it seemed like everything was a stretch. And I'm like, man, I don't want to give up on this, but I really want to give up on it. And so I wanted to hear some people that have made it all the way through.
What are you watching it on right now?
Netflix.
Does it have all 6 seasons?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's been a recent surge in it since it got on there. People discovering it for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, the gaps between Rick and Morty episodes, I think, have been long enough that people are craving more Dan Harmon content, and they're still going back and, watching his old stuff.
My favorite episode is still the one, the KFC one. That's still my favorite. Where they get inside, like, the KFC truck or something. They get locked in. And it's like an AI that is like Colonel Sanders. I love that one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It's just-
the
it cracks
spaceship.
me up every time. Then there's some LeVar Burton stuff that's hysterical too.
Oh, man. I think my
Yeah, that
favorite
show
episode
has-
is either the Fort episode or the Paintball episode.
Yeah. Both paintballs are good. Yeah, they have some choice episodes.
The
for
two
sure.
Dungeons and Dragons ones were really good.
Yeah.
I think the first D&D episode was one of my favorites. Even though it was not accurate to the game, because I had, like, literally just played my first D&D game with Nicole and Tori, and then that episode came on like a couple days later. I'm like, those guys were not rolling for initiative. They didn't roll for damage. They're just. And then Abed was the dungeon master. He was the only one rolling a die. But it was really funny. Then the second one, I think we watched not too long ago. It wasn't that bad. But
The more I hear about some of the stuff on Netflix, the more I want to get a Netflix account.
yeah, but we just keep. Has anybody watched Space Force yet?
I started it. It's weird.
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it's a Netflix exclusive.
Space Force is really a weird show. I can't do anything if
Put
you
your
can't
face
hear me.
closer.
It's not Dan Harmon that did it. It was the producers from
For The Office.
The Office and Community.
Greg
right?
Daniels.
Great, yeah.
I just have to get used
and
to
Steve Carell
the feel of it. Like, it's kind of how when I first watched the Orval, I wasn't quite sure where they were headed, and I'm like, I want to like it because I like all the stuff involved. I like all the actors and the cameos and stuff. And I just don't know what the feel of it's supposed to be.
The humor is really inconsistent though too.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I think.
It seems like it's trying to be serious, but then it'll say something like deadpan that's kind of funny. I don't know if that's the style taken over from carried over from The Office, because I never cared for The Office anyways, but I'm not sure what to make of it.
It's trying to be, but I think the beauty of The Office works because people could see themselves in those scenarios, to where in the Space Force saying like it's this aggrandized secret military thing launching satellites, and a Chinese satellite like clips the solar panels off of the American side. So
that's
like
the last one I saw.
There is this level of sci-fi fantasy kind of, sure, why not? And so that relatability of that deadpan comedy, I think, misses. And like you're saying, the comedy is pretty inconsistent.
There's some things that are really funny, but then I wish it would kind of like pick a genre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the stupid stuff that pulls me out of it is like I'm watching it, and you probably picked up on some of this too, Josh. Is like when he's saluting, people are saluting like inconsistently. Like he salutes first to like subordinates as they walk by. I'm like, no, you're not saluting first. Like just little things like you're not supposed to salute in that situation, or they're like not wearing a cover and like just different, military. Like if they just had an advisor, they would be like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You're supposed to do this. Just little things. But
yeah, it's not MASH for the Space Force.
Right.
Like, and I think the thing where they're trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Like, but the other stuff, guys, we have to be accurate. Yeah. We have to be serious. But then that stuff is like, it looks wrong, or it looks like some dumb 80s trope where like everybody on the military base is all running at the same time in tank tops. Where it's like, that stuff is a caricature
stereotype
of military life. And so, yeah, it's weird. I'm trying.
Yeah. I'm going to keep watching it.
You get it on the head. It's.
Because
I want to keep watching it, but like, you gotta do something funny.
Yeah. Because we finished upload of what is available, so we're watching something else.
What you think?
It's okay. I like the premise of it more than I like the show. Like I liked some of the ideas they were like putting forth from a like moral and like social like standpoint, and like the ideas they were, proposing. It's just I didn't care for some of the execution in it, but.
I almost feel like the purpose of that show is conversation in some ways. I mean, because the story isn't that interesting, but the ideas presented, I think, are really kind of fascinating, even though, it definitely has a slant to its purpose and talking about like different classes and stuff.
Yeah.
But the premise of that show is that you buy like online credits, or you create an online account to where your memory and your consciousness goes when you don't die, you're uploaded to this AI version of heaven,
a digital retirement resort.
Yeah, you have like microtransactions for like breakfast items and outings and things. Right. And I mean, it was really clever. I put that into the Idiocracy like column.
I can see
so
that.
Where Idiocracy had a lot of truth. It had a lot of like, oh, maybe we can start a conversation around these things. But then it had the hyperbole in it was like so far-fetched, it made it like not a serious
right.
It was like the citing Wikipedia in your research paper. Like it may have the right answers, but no one's going to take you seriously if that's your primary source. And that's why I kind of put in upload. I'm like, wow, this has a lot of like really poignant points to like think about. And one of the characters battles with like, no, I don't want to be uploaded into the thing. I want to go to heaven. And people are like, well, you think heaven is real? And it's like, well, is that really real? And so there's a lot of like,
it's a good question,
conversation points about it. And then I guess you can like call back to the actual life when you're in this AI thing, and you can like make virtual love to your partners while they wear some weird scuba suit type thing. I thought the premise was pretty neat. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
But then it has like layers of story to try to keep you hooked. But then I thought like those layers of story weren't all that super interesting.
I'll probably end up watching it the next season, but I think Catherine probably will drop off.
Yeah, I watched it by myself. It was something I imagined Tiff probably wouldn't have been all that interested in. And she comes down here at the end of the night to like set up for her online classes and stuff that she teaches in the morning. So depending on how long that takes her, I'm sitting up there not watching the shows that I want to watch because we watch them together. And so I'm like, well, I guess I can't watch anything. So I have to pick something that I know or
Right.
I imagine that she may not be interested in.
Yeah,
And then I go down that line while I'm waiting.
that sounds familiar.
You don't want a Netflix cheat on her.
Yeah.
I get it.
What about Mad Men? You guys watch Mad Men?
Love that show. I've seen the entire series.
Okay.
I thought it was great.
So I have a fundamental question about this show because I'm watching it. It's somewhat entertaining. Don Draper, the main character, guy is like the head creative, creates all these ads for all these like big 50s companies and has like a wife and 2 kids and a whole crazy backstory. But then he like at every opportunity cheats on his wife with like a bunch of like hot 50s ladies because like drinks all the time, smokes all the time. And so I'm trying to figure out like why his character is an endearing character. Like is he
Who
plagued by
says he
something?
is?
Okay, so I guess maybe that's he has all these vices that are like overt vices, and I'm like, I was waiting for some redemption part, and there was kind of one of the like when he reveals who he really is or whatever, that seemed to be like some redemption moment, but it just seems like he's kind of a scummy guy who wants you to buy like cigarettes and hairspray and stuff.
And unfortunately, I think he appeals to a certain section of adult males that view his character as almost like a fantasy type living, of like living it up. But it's also it's also a period piece of reflection of looking at how things were at one time. So I think there's a couple different perspectives on how you can view that character. I don't think he's supposed to be endearing. Kind of.
I was hoping somebody on that show, other than I think the girl, is supposed to be an endearing character, because they all seem like a lot of really selfish, rich.
But you're talking about Madison Avenue advertising firms in the 1950s. I'm not sure if it's a good moral tale.
No, probably not a moral tale.
No, I know that's not exactly what you're getting at, but I don't think any of it's meant to be endearing, given the business of that industry.
I think his character is inconsistent. He has like he looks at his 2 kids and he's like, "Oh, my kids," and he makes these faces like in the dark, in the rain. They're like, "I need to change my life because I love my kids." And then he hugs his wife or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe he's gonna start valuing his family and maybe find a better. And then the next episode, some chick walks past him in the hallway, and then he gets drunk and takes her home. And I'm like, dang, pick one.
You're clearly around better people than I've grown up around then.
I don't know. And then I go, maybe that's just the way it was?
Or the way it is.
How many seasons are this just to keep watching just the way it was? I'm like, okay. All right. So, okay, that's a different perspective. Maybe people like him just because he's Ron Burgundy in real life.
Without the irony.
Yeah. Okay.
So is that what you've been geeking out about?
No.
Which part?
Sorry. I just want some perspective from other people. We haven't talked in a while about non-world ending things.
Yep.
The thing I'm geeking out about. You guys remember Snapships from back in the day?
I do.
Those things we found at Maker Faire and then we talked about, and then they sent us some, and then we talked about them again, and then they went away for like forever. Well, apparently, Play Monster, a toy company, found them. And I don't know if they bought them or not, but they took their idea to production. They expanded the offering. They're all in color now. They've got different like factions. There's good guys and bad guys in the whole story. And they are released now, so you can buy them. I went to, I think, playmonster.com and typed it in. Yeah. and you can go and find some Snapships, and they're pretty cool looking. Like some have like tank treads and stuff, and I had been emailing back and forth, sporadically with the guys who own them, and he was really proud of what they were putting out. I believe it still has the AR component. I ordered a bunch of them. I don't know when they're going to get here, but that was my Father's Day gift to myself, was to buy a bunch of Snapships kits. So they have like some bigger ones, some smaller ones. So they range from $10 a kit up to like 10 to 20, 30, and $40.
Yeah, they weren't
so,
too expensive from what I saw. Not terrible compared to Lego.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully sometime in the near future, I'm going to get an actual production run to market collection of Snapships. And then I want to see if this OG Snapship piece will fit in there somewhere. Like this will be the power cell.
Yeah, that's the Allspark, right?
Yeah, there you go. They all want this one. So that's what I've been geeking out about it. I thought it was pretty cool, and so I bought a bunch.
I'm geeking out about something that got released, or not officially released, but I think shown for the first time yesterday. As if people weren't tired of hearing me talk about pinball enough. If you've been to like Walmart or some of the local like retail stores, you'll see that there's been like arcade cabinets and stuff that have been released over the last couple of years that are like a 3/4 size reproductions of like old Pac-Man, Galaga and stuff. And they announced yesterday they're going to be doing a virtual pinball cabinet, 3/4 size, that's based on all the virtual pinball tables I've been playing through Steam for the last 3 or 4 years. And the theme is going to be all the Marvel pinball tables. And I'm really curious to see what it's going to be like, because I was already planning on building a virtual pinball table within the next year or so. And I'm wondering if the cost of buying at retail is going to be better than me building it on my own. And wondering like the components they use to see if I could go on and like switch out the tables and add more to the system itself. I'm just curious. And then of course like the final price, because if it's more than $200, then I'm I wouldn't commit to buying it, and I'll just do it a different way. But I love the idea that a mass market pinball table, virtual pinball table, is going to be released, because if you get them custom made, they tend to be really expensive. So excited about that.
Those arcade cabinets that like Walmart has been putting out, are like what, $225? Is that what they've been selling them for?
Something like that. I think they've all been under 300.
Which
they're 3/4 size though. They're not full size. They're scaled down, but not too bad for what it is.
And they have like 3 games on them.
Some of them do, yeah.
Which to me seems insane.
What part?
The price.
Good or bad?
Price?
Like $225 for Frogger, Joust, and whatever that third one was. Centipede?
You're not paying for the games though.
In a 3/4 size arcade cabinet.
Yeah, and but their market is not us.
No, I understand that. I totally get that. I am not the target.
There's another component of that too, is that everybody, most people are putting additional games on those machines.
Are they? I mean, is it possible? Because I go to the store and they have the little retro arcade handhelds, with like the Chinese 25 games, or you could buy the authentic one that has like 6 games on it, and it's like $40. And I'm like, really? Because right across the aisle, there's the Raspberry Pi that you can get 400,000 games on for like less.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you search up like a 1-up arcade cabinet mods on YouTube, you'll probably get a big response. And even then, plug a Raspberry Pi on the inside and you have your arcade cabinet, because a lot of people aren't going to build one.
Again, even then, are the components good enough to warrant the price tag? I mean, is it composite wood? Is it real wood? Is it like
arcade cabinets aren't usually real wood anyways? They're all particle board.
That's probably particle board. I think Jimmy DeResta knows the guy who owns that company.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
1-up?
I'm pretty sure.
I would love to get one to test. But
hey, you know a guy who knows a guy who knows the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, we're not their target market.
No.
Yeah.
They want people that look at the little joystick, the little fake Atari looking thing that has a couple games preloaded. And they go, that's not what I remember really liking. I want an arcade. There's an arcade right there.
There's a lot
it's
of
tiny
grandparents
for my
buying those for the
kids.
grandkids.
And then I get the little booster seat, whatever, little stand base thingy that they sell separately so that it can stand up to normal people height. And after you spend all that money, you realize you could have made your own. You got Donovan who can holler at people and be like, look, you can make that thing with all the games. And you could go stand next to the frozen pizzas and holler at them like, you can get flour and sauce and butter and make this thing for 35 cents.
The controls are a little bit crunchy, but you know, you have an arcade machine.
Yep.
So it hasn't gone yet.
Put those in like rental cabins too, as fun little like family things to do.
That'd actually be an interesting idea. If you,
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say, like, Workbench Con, Isotunes brought that little blow-up screen with the blow-up couch and had a Nintendo Switch at their booth. I'm like, that's brilliant. It's so simple, but so entertaining. And sometimes walking around, you just need to sit down, and while you're sitting down, you can play Mario Kart with 3 other people, and it was smart. It was good. It was a good marketing. So yeah.
So who's next?
I said I was watching the shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's my birthday, so I already geeked out at the beginning.
And it's your birthday. I mean, I'm still geeking out about Breath of the Wild because my son and I have been playing it together almost every day. We a few weeks ago, actually when we first got it, my kids and my wife sat down and like tried to figure out how many hours we would need to play to get to a point where we could face Ganon and not just totally get crushed. And they're like, all right, on the 12th of June, we should be far enough along in the game that we're going to face Ganon. And so every day my son reminds me, we're going to fight Ganon. And all day this week, how many more days until we fight Ganon? Yeah, I do. And so tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow is the day we're going to sit down as a family around the Nintendo and fight Ganon. There's so many more things on that game I want to do before I fight Ganon because I'm a weird completionist. But they set a date.
Me too, man. I still haven't fought Ganon.
It's been celebrated in my family every day. Every time my son sees me, he reminds me.
I've got 0 side quests left. I've done everything. And I've found like 97% of all the temples. I've got the DLCs. So yeah, I don't know what I've been waiting for. It's almost like when you watch Serenity or Firefly and there's the one episode left, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
It's going to be the last one, so it's never finished if you never finish it. So it's weird.
Have you conquered any of the divine beasts already?
Yeah, we went through a week ago. We're like, all right. My wife was like, all right, I think we're ready. Let's go do the divine beasts, and we did. And doing the lightning one first was not the right way to go. That one was super hard.
Yeah.
But we got that one. The rest of them were easy. I was like, wow, I wish all of them were that easy. The wind one was fantastic. All I had to do is sit there and just shoot arrows at him, and he was done. And then, don't tell my wife this, but I got the DLC. And we did the DLC levels where you go back and you refight the divine, all of the blight Ganons, so that you can up your skills. And that was harder because they only give you one weapon and like one bow and one set of armor and nothing.
Yep.
And so it was harder, but we still did it. And since then, we've been just going around trying to find all the Korok seeds and all the shrines and all the side missions. I really want to find Ganondorf's horse and there's so much more I want to do for tomorrow. But tomorrow's the day. So tomorrow we're gonna face Ganon. We're gonna do it, and hopefully not die. I tried to do the trial of the sword. I get my butt whipped every time. It's so.
You have to have, I think it's like 13 hearts to be able to get the sword.
Well, the trial of the sword is
The
you
DLC
go back.
part.
Yeah, DLC part where you go back and you put the sword back in the mount.
Yeah. You can upgrade the power of it.
There's 3 stages.
It's ridiculous.
The first stage has like 30 levels. The second stage has 30 levels, and the third stage has like 17 levels. And each one gets progressively harder.
I never beat the third stage.
Yeah, and if you die, you have to start back at the first one.
Yep.
Ugh.
And then you get nothing at the beginning. You start with nothing.
Yeah.
Practically. You're naked.
Well, then Ganon, if you've done all that, then Ganon is
easy.
not going to be that difficult.
So I'm excited for tomorrow. Breath of the Wild on the brain, putting together the Playhouse, playing the game. That's what I've been geeking out about. Maybe one of these days I'll not be geeking out about Breath of the Wild, but by that time it'll probably be Breath of the Wild 2, which Wes can't believe it. But yeah, that's what I've been geeking out about.
Very cool. Well, if you didn't know, we have a website, makinggeeks.com, and on that website you can get a hold of us directly through the contact page, and you can listen to all of our past episodes right there on the homepage, especially if you like to do your podcasting through your browser, right there on makinggeeks.com.
And if you didn't know, we all are on social media, active on social media, and happy to talk to you, to answer questions, to share what we're doing. So come check us out. Sean can be found over at Geek Builders. Wes is found at Geek Smithing. Josh is found at Josh_Make_Stuff. And I'm found at Once Upon a Workbench.
And we'd like to take this opportunity to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/makinggeeks for helping us keep the lights on here at the show with their contributions every episode. And also want to do a special thanks to every person that's a patron. Thanks AJ, Brandon, Broken Antler Workshop, Chad from Mancrafting, Clint, Corey, David, Jeeves, Jordan, Maker on the Move, Matt, Michael, Nicole, Turi, Scott, Sean, Seth, Southern Style Woodworking, Southern Style DIY, Square Splinter, Stanley, and Tinker Nearing. Thank you guys so much for all your support. We appreciate every one of you, for sure.
Wow, that group has grown.
It has grown.
Yeah.
We appreciate every one of you. Thanks to everybody. That's patreon.com/makinggeeks.
And if you want to get in on the conversation that we are having, you can head over to our YouTube channel every Thursday around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US of A. And you can come hang out with us and chat along, and we'll follow along with what you're talking about while we are talking. And for everybody else, we hope you enjoy the podcast and your podcast player of choice. And from all of us to all of you, hope you have a fantastic week.
See you guys.
Take care. Be safe.